This webinar was created as a result of a response to intervention professional learning community consisting of Amanda Fonstad and Nicole Smeagol, where the Causes and Cures in the Classroom book by Margaret Searle was studied. These PLC members wanted a way to share with other RTI and classroom teachers what they learned from the book. This is part 1 of 2 webinars. It focuses on the question of what is executive functioning and how does it affect school performance. So the big question we have is, why are students having trouble with learning? We need to focus on what blocks student learning before concentrating on which intervention to use. This book deals with what is executive function. Basically, executive function is the brain's conductor, and it's the term used to describe the brain processes that drive our ability to do the following things: to focus, solve problems, organize ourselves, remember information, learn from our mistakes, and manage impulses. So think of a student with learning problems in your classroom. Often their learning deficits have root in one of these areas. These skills help us learn efficiently and to develop important social skills. The skills develop at different rates as students grow and mature. Actually, executive function skills rather than IQ is the best predictor of skills in reading, spelling, and math. The following slides explain the connection between learning and executive function more thoroughly. The first executive function that we're going to look at is a student's ability to plan and problem solve. Students with these deficits lack the ability to break a big task into manageable parts. This inability makes the job seem overwhelming and they tend to procrastinate. The final product is rushed and students do not get to have the experience in creating good quality work. These students will be repeatedly unsuccessful in getting started or meeting goals and accessing resources, which can lead them to become more and more reluctant to start projects and to stick with goals that challenge them. The next executive function deals with organizational skills. This is more than just sporadic disorganization. It includes cluttered thinking and a lack of insight. A student's mind skips from one activity to another while they're trying to work. They might start many projects but finish none. In order to make long-term change, these students need much more modeling and practice. So as teachers, we need to give the students enough time for organization and provide organizational templates. And this might mean quitting teaching 2 or 3 minutes early to give them time to organize papers and equipment. We need to provide specific feedback about how they are staying organized. And if students have missed out on how to organize their belongings and their thinking in previous grades, they will then need explicit teaching and reminders. Focusing attention is the next executive function in the book. Students need to develop stamina and mental control so that they can take in information, sustain attention, and then refocus themselves. Inability to focus attention can also affect social impulses. So if these students got up for work an hour late, they would not realize that they needed to rush. They would just show up to work an hour late. They only have one speed, and telling these students to hurry up, hurry up, hurry up does not work. These students may experience confusion on why they don't fit in or make friends. And they have a lack of attention to detail. They might not recognize feelings and social cues about things that they do that others find annoying. Also, if these students don't take frequent breaks, their brains will do it for them. We have all dealt with kids who have had problems with impulse control. These students don't know how to keep their responses proportional to the issue at hand. They do it now and then they think later. Many small issues are made into more than they really are. And so for these students, we need to encourage them to slow down and think before they act. Importantly, we need to teach students about self-monitoring. This executive function has a direct effect on all other executive skills. And if a student is not aware of their own achievements and learning, then the chances of improvement is slim. Setting specific goals for improvement and careful guidance and monitoring by the teacher and the student is necessary. Because these students are unable to accurately evaluate the quality of their own work, they cannot see any way to improve their performance. They don't ask for help when they need it because they can't identify what they need. It's easier to hide than ask for help. When you hear things like a teacher asking, "How can I help you?" and the student replies, "I just don't get it. I don't get any of it," in broad terms, that is a sign that the student is unaware of their learning and unable to break down their needs to ask appropriate questions to get help. Memory is the next executive function in the book, and this executive function is broken down into 3 types: encoding, or the intake system, working memory, or processing, and long-term memory, storage and retrieval. Now, a deficit in some aspect of memory function is a common issue that we see in classrooms. So as for memory, the first one that we're going to talk about is encoding. If a student has difficulty with encoding, they cannot sort out which information to focus on, keep up with the pace of information, focus if they don't find the information engaging or challenging. They cannot link new information to what they already know. They cannot follow directions because they gloss over details or sequences, and they also cannot learn from previous mistakes. So teachers need to consciously provide students opportunities to have information to enter the brain in multiple ways. If we think about the different learning styles, when we're planning for lessons, it will more purposefully put information into the students' heads. A student's working memory is the area where the processing happens. And if a student has difficulty with working memory, they cannot follow through on directions, even when they understand them, remember where they are in a process when doing a multi-step task, remember what they read long enough to make connections to other information, detect patterns, relationships, and the logic of situations. They also cannot apply previous knowledge to new events or predict or imagine future events. If information has been encoded in a variety of ways, then there's more of a chance that the student will be able to access the information long enough to process it. The third area of memory deals with long-term memory. If a student has difficulty with long-term memory, they cannot match sounds with letters or symbols with numbers. They cannot transfer or apply a skill to an unfamiliar situation or problem. They cannot follow through on directions and commitments. They might have trouble evaluating new information for relevance or effectiveness. They might have trouble remaining calm in testing situations. And they also might have problems comprehending while reading or listening. However, once students have encoded information in more than one place in the brain and have different modes to retrieve it, there will be more of a chance that they will be able to find the information that they're looking for. Students need repeated practice in a variety of modes in order for the information to enter long-term memory and for it to be available for access. So what do we as teachers do? There are some possible solutions to try that are in this book. So if you would please watch the next webinar for practical suggestions from the book about classroom planning and interventions, that would be beneficial. Thank you for watching.